Thank you, Nate, for the kind introduction. So I thought I'm second, but I'd be starting to present about our experience in the recently concluded CLTP 11. So I'm Angelo PURIO, and I'm a PhD candidate at Kyushu Institute of Technology and also a faculty member at Adamson University in the Philippines. Just a brief introduction. I've been part of some of satellite projects, but to summarize my hobbies, it's in photography, food, travel, and calligraphy. So just a brief history. I'm not actually a space engineer. I'm an electronics engineer, but I was able to attend in 2017 a small satellite mission short course in India. And this started my space engineering journey. I think some of my classmates too in the CLTP 11 was able to join here. So having said that, from then forward, I got interested in space and space engineering. So I pursued my PhD degree in Space Engineering International course at Kyushu Institute of Technology. But the motivation really when I saw the opportunity to join the CLTP 11 is that since I'd be returning to my university this year, I mean, come October, I would like to have an experience of what really is or how is it to teach space engineering to students. It's because learning is one. I mean, being part of satellite engineering projects is one, but being able to teach it to my students in the future is a different thing. And I saw the material in the CLTP 11, and I was intrigued on how am I going to teach this to my students in the future. Hence, I applied for the short course. So here is my CLTP experience. So the experience really is a 2-week experience of learning how to build a satellite. The entirety of the program, I think some of my classmates from CLTP will explain, but as a gist of what I learned and how I am able to appreciate the satellite development process is through these things. There were parts wherein you get to know CubeSat development cycle. There is also a part wherein there is a rocket launch. You get to provide or propose a mission, conceptualize, and also prove how it will work in space. And in general, we're looking at systems engineering, space technology, and teaching methods. At the culmination of the activity, we work the program through a teaching practice. So this was held in Nihon University in Tokyo. So the first part of the program or the experience is really being able to know the different laboratories that Nihon University has in terms of space engineering. So in particular, we were able to see their ground station, also the antenna they use for communicating with their satellites, also some of the projects that related to space engineering that Nihon University is involved in. In addition to that, the program also provides a self-paced learning, meaning there's a manual of the things about building or using the heptasat, as we call the satellite that we are building. And most of the parts are hands-on, wherein you get to do programming, you get to assemble the satellite as a whole, and also being able to integrate them fully as a whole system. So we were paired initially, and then I'm paired with Sir Jan, one of my Filipino colleague. So we built this heptasat from scratch. I mean, not from scratch, but all the materials are there, but we build them uh, to be a whole functioning system, which is very interesting coming from a satellite project. And looking at the material, I was like, oh, the material is intuitive, it's easy to understand, and I am able to build it. Because if you are in a satellite project, really, you are just focusing on one task. You know some of it, some parts of it, but being able to understand fully the different subsystems and being able to put together the satellite is a different experience for me. So having said that, we were able to also experience a rocket launch that is putting out some payload in a rocket and launching the rocket and seeing the data that we gathered from that payload. And it's also very interesting because we go to an area to launch the rocket, and the Japanese teaching assistants help us to put them together and also launch the rocket. Also, we proposed missions in the heptasat, so we would need additional components. So what we did was we did an Akihabara tour. So for those who are not living in Tokyo, going to Akihabara is a haven for enthusiasts. For example, in electronics, because you can buy a lot of things here. So as a team, we went here in Akihabara and bought additional components to execute our mission design. So yeah, some of the photos. And then the core part also is proposing a mission and proving that it works. So I think some of the speakers today will talk about it. They are my group members, group mates. And here is like just an excerpt of what we did. So we proposed something trivial, but we have to change some parts of the structure, provide additional components, and then build it as a whole and make it work. So I'm not a programmer, so normally my contribution in the team is in the conceptualization of the mission and putting together the satellite with the mission in itself. So it's good to have team members who are also capable of building the satellite with you. Yeah, so finally, we culminate what we learned from the entire experience by teaching those coming from the industries who, in particular, are not acquainted with space per se. So what we did was we cascaded the training to them by also teaching them how building a heptasat. And I mean, they also proposed submissions in relation to the heptasat, which is actually very exciting because you get to meet new people. Those who don't have experience in space engineering, it's a challenge of how are you going to teach it to them. So this is also a good experience for me, so that when I go back to my university, I am able to teach this. So overall, I actually would not deal with the technical parts of learning through the CLTP program, but these are the lessons I've learned in the past 2 weeks. But it is actually a learning process for me. I was able to work in multidisciplinary and multicultural teams through presentations and writing reports. Presentations. I was able to communicate properly. In mission execution, we develop critical thinking, resourcefulness, and creativity. We also had time wherein we have to make decisions and then manage conflict and our time. And finally, uh, I find it amusing that if you have positive attitude and you know how to work under pressure, doing the entire project in the program is very vital. And finally, willingness to learn, because of course, when you come there, you don't know everything. So if you learn from the senseis or the teachers and also the teaching assistants, you get to experience a lot in terms of you get to know a lot from the program. So I think that encapsulates what I learned in the experience. On behalf of the attendees, we would like to thank AOTS for sponsoring our stay in, joining the program, also UNISEC Global, and for my case, UNISEC Philippines for endorsing us and being part of it. That's all. Thank you.